Good morning, everyone. What a day, huh? Let's see, what a ride. This is a very special day, of course. Huge day for the city of New Orleans. Huge day for myself. Huge day for my family. Huge day for this department. I've served this department for 24 years. Served this city for close to 30 years. It's a humbling moment right now. I can say, and I will be honest, this has been an emotional week, emotional month, and sometimes, a decision has to be made, and it is a very important and necessary decision to be made. I joined this department in 1998 um, in an effort to support my family in a better way. This department has a lot of things to offer to anyone who would like to join this department. And I see a lot of things to offer, the benefits, the camaraderie, the family, a lot of things to offer. But more importantly, the city's love is what this department has to offer any and everyone. This is a unique city. I'm born and raised here. Let me tell you, there's no city like it. None. I won't take any of this love that I have received over the last several years for granted. Um, since joining this department, this profession, I joined it for my family, but the profession, this noble profession, has become my passion. Over the last 24 years, I've given it my all. I joined this department for my family, and over the last 24 years, I've put this department before my family. Therefore, this decision had to be made. It's time to focus on my family. It is time to focus on myself. I have to begin with some thank yous. And the first thing I have to do, first thank you I have to give is to God Almighty. He is the reason I'm here today. He knows the ending before it begins. And that is why I'm here today. He knew this was coming before I knew this was coming. I want to thank the mayor, Latoya Cantrell, trusted in me, had the confidence in me to put me in this position and stood by me every step of the way. When many have called for me to step down, she stood with me. And I want to thank her for that. I want to thank the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, commissioned and non-commissioned. Let me tell you, I sent an email to the department yesterday I wanted them to hear from me first about my position and my path forward. And I was amazed at the responses that I received. They made me teary-eyed, I would not lie. There were responses from people I never expected. Not that they did me anything wrong. I just never knew how I impacted them. And they were telling me stories and statements and memories that they had of me and how I impacted their careers. And I was amazed. So I know, with that being said, I have done my due diligence. I have made a difference, not just with this department, but with this city. But we have to recognize these men and women for all that they do and continue to do. We've been through a global pandemic, civil unrest, hurricane, 2 weeks without electricity. And none of that stopped the New Orleans Police Department from doing their job while the rest of the criminal justice system shut down. The men and women of this department should be held to a standard of just thanking them, praising them, uplifting them for everything that they do and continue to do every day. And for that, I'm very grateful. I want to thank each and every one of them. I have to thank the citizens of New Orleans for their love. I mean, I have hundreds of texts, emails that I have yet to go through. I still have not completed. My phone, of course, has rang all night. It's continuing to ring this morning. Just the love and support that the citizens of New Orleans, even abroad, across the country, have reached out and said, hey, walk out with your head held high because we support you and we thank you. And for that, I am thankful. Last but not least, my family. It is something that the mayor and I have urged and continue to say every time we are at a recruit graduation or anything. Hey, when we serve, our families serve. And that is no different for me. My family has endured a lot, not just over the last 24 years, but especially these last 4 years in this position. And I am grateful for their support and their love and their encouragement every day. This department is one of the greatest, if not the greatest department in the country. I love it. Couldn't be more proud of it. I've grown through this. I've made friends. I've lost friends while being on this department. And that is serious. I mean, things that we go through, a lot of the community, you, the media, do not see that. What is behind the curtain? Just with my first field training officer, when I came on this job, passed just this year while still working on this job. So we go through a lot, and you do not realize that. But nevertheless, we have to put on this armor and continue to fight a good fight, and we will continue to do just that. I want to put some things in perspective, dispel some rumors. I was not forced out. This is my decision. I am walking out on my own accord. I had this conversation with the mayor prior to Thanksgiving, and I'll be frank with you. I had this thought and this consideration throughout the budget process. And I finally had a conversation with the mayor and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. And she asked me to take the Thanksgiving holidays to discuss it with my family, to possibly reconsider, really put things into perspective throughout the Thanksgiving holidays. And at the end of the holidays, I made the decision. It's time to go home. It's time to sit back, look at what I have done. It's time to enjoy my life. Not that I have not been able to do so, but in a different way. No more phone calls in the middle of the night. No more getting up, trying to see what's going on, and late nights like Chief Gurley. I remember Chief Thomas was here with me. I talked to them, and they say, as they say to me, they talk to me more than they talk to their wives. That is the nature of this business. That is the nature of this job. So, you know, I'm going to enjoy this time with my family, and I have to look out for them as well as myself when we talk about doing things in order. Just a few little opinions, tidbits from my part. I want to encourage our city leaders to have a better communication line. This is not our own, it's not about our own personal agendas. It is about the citizens and the visitors of New Orleans. We have to work with one another. We have to agree to disagree. But it starts, as I said last week, with communication. And I am urging our leaders to do just that. Come to the table. Stop this political showmanship. Come to the table, have a conversation. Be grown men, be grown women, and talk about the issues and see how we can come to a resolution together. I want to encourage the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, again, commission and non-commission, or as we would say, our commission or uniformed personnel and our professionals. Continue to fight a good fight. Continue to stay #NOPD strong, because this is who we are. To our citizens, our business leaders, our faith-based leaders, continue to support the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, because they need just that. It goes a long way. To you, the media, look at the glass half full and not half empty. Your messaging is important. We're talking about a recruitment problem, not just in New Orleans, but across the country. But it's based on messaging. It is based on perception of this profession. I just had this conversation with one of our ex-employees, some retired officers. You know, I remember coming on this job, you had generations of police officers. You had the Rodriguez, you had the Palombos, you had the Thomases, you had that. You don't have that anymore. Officers are our best recruiters, but it is hard to recruit your family members and friends to come on this department, given the climate that we're dealing with now. We need to change that. We really need to change that. I want to encourage you, as you hold law enforcement accountable, hold every aspect, every component of the criminal justice system accountable. It is unfair. These men and women go out here, as I said before, every day doing their job, making the arrest. Ida, global pandemic, civil unrest, they were out there while others sat back and gave excuses as to why they could not do their job or should not do their job. It is unfair to the men and women of this department, to the men and women of this profession. Let's lift them up. Let's give them a chance. And let's look at that glass again, half full instead of half empty. 24 years of service is what I've given, and 24 years is a lot. 4 years in this seat is a lot. The average, you know, many may say the average span of a chief of police is probably 6, 7 years, maybe 5 years. But when you're in a major city, 3 years tops. 3. I will be making 4 years next month. It is time. It's time to get back to what is important. Not that the citizens of this city is not important to me, because I will be here. I will continue to be that neighbor as my neighbors walk down the street with their dogs and I'm sitting on my porch. But I'll be able to have a more engaged conversation now with my neighbors instead of worrying about the phone ringing while we're trying to discuss what is going on in our neighborhood. But it's time to take a step back and reset and see what can I do differently to better this community, to better this city. So another question may be asked, what are your plans? I have none. I am not leaving the city to go take another job. I will be right here in the city of New Orleans. This is the city that I love, and I will see what life has to offer. It's God's plan, not mine. And I will do just as he has ordered me to do. So with that being said, you know, citizens of New Orleans, I love you. Men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, I love you. I want to thank again the mayor for this great, great opportunity. I would not, if there's anything I could do differently, in case you asked that, nothing. Again, it's God's plan. So everything that I've been through, everything that this department has been through, is by his word, is by his order, and I will continue to follow his order. Gary?
How much did the political situation, the vote, as far as the council sort of having some sort of role in choosing the next police chief by January 1st play in your decision making?
Not a one. Again, this is about my family. This is about myself. I told you I've been thinking about this even during the budget season, probably even prior to that, but not at all, none.
Do you have any thoughts about Jeanette Williams, that's a person whose name has been thrown around to possibly fill your shoes when you're gone? Any thoughts about her, whether she's qualified, whether you think she'd make a good chief?
I don't think that is my responsibility to say that. Well, what I will say is I think every deputy chief that has worked with me deserves an opportunity. And I think Jeanette is a great woman. I think she's a great police officer. I think Chris Gilley is. I think Ota Sandifer. I think Keith Sanchez is. I think Lawrence Dupree is. So that is not my responsibility to think like that or determine or decide if they are a good person. But what I can say is whomever is selected, I will be here to assist them during their transition, while on the job and even after leaving the job.
In terms of, do you think that the hire should be from within or within
The best person for the New Orleans Police Department is within the New Orleans Police Department. We don't have to go anywhere to look for anyone to lead this department. We have great men and women that work for this department and that can lead this department.
Okay.
Chief, first, congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
You said this was a decision you've been thinking about for some time. Did any of that political pressure, though there's been, you have faced a lot of flack, I imagine that is frustrating. Did any of that play into your decision?
I mean, it is a toxic environment right now. I mean, unfortunately, it's very toxic. But no, again, it's about family. I've had some challenges within my family. I have some challenges with myself over the last year, health-wise. So it's time for me to focus on my family and myself. And that's what this is all about. And I think I'm just looking at an opportunity of starting 2023 with a new me. That's what it's all about. No worries.
You said to dispel rumors, so the mayor did not ask you to retire.
No, no, not at all. She did not ask me at all. I went to her expressing my concerns and my position, and not at all.
So, leaving here today, are you excited? Is this bittersweet? And two, if you had to address those who doubted you while chief, what would you say to those people?
So it is a bittersweet moment. I mean, again, as I said, the last few days, the last few weeks, the last few months have been an emotional roller coaster. You've been doing something for as long as I have been doing it. It becomes not necessarily a routine, but it's life. It is my life. It has become my life, and to now say I'm going to change my life, that is significant. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot. To those that have doubted me, I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I have been surrounded with great men and great women who have supported me in this department, outside of this department, that kept me lifted. So when I leaned back, side to side or whatever, they had people around me to hold me strong. So those dollars are just that. That's a part of life. You will always have that.
Chief, you were sworn in 2019. In 2020, COVID, we had the civil unrest. I mean, really, dealt a hand that was difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
How did you deal with all of that, through all the hardships, and then do you feel like you're leaving the department in a better position than when you came in?
So I'll answer that in reverse. Yes, absolutely. I think this department is in a better place given the circumstances, given the environment, given the climate. With this profession right now, I think this department has done a lot, and we have done a lot. How did I get through it? Again, the men and women. But it started with God first. I mean, I leaned on my colleagues. We had great leadership. I forgot, I want to thank our public safety team, because they were the ones, those leaders, your Roman Nelsons, your Bill Samarons, Meg Moreno, Tanisha Stevens, John Thomas, those people helped us get through all of this. We did not make decisions in silos. We discussed these things, and that got us through this. Leaning on my colleagues, what were the best practices across the country? How can we do things differently? How can we do things better, given the climate that we have been dealing with, or the hands that we've been dealt with? And I would say this, too. I would be remiss if I do not mention the fact that past chiefs of this department have reached out and actually given me words of advice, words of encouragement, and say, hey, you're dealing with something we haven't dealt with, but however, if I can give you a little bit of what I think you should do, this is it. And each and every, and I mean each and every former chief, from your, and I'll go in reverse, from your Mike Harrison to your Ronald Surpass to your Warren Rollins to your Eddie Compass. I've spoken to each and every one of them, and I thank them. I thank them for their input and their advice.
What do you think your greatest accomplishment is?
I think my greatest accomplishment in this department is bringing this department together again. I mean, we've had some divisiveness, and we continue to do that. But, I mean, I think there's a level of respect that was given back to those officers that are boots on the ground that wasn't there before. And I think that is my greatest accomplishment.
Time for a couple more.
crazy place. You love it or you hate it. You love it and you hate it, right? I mean, it's both.
So tell us what happened from the beginning.
I'm pretty sure that he just stood up off the couch and jumped through the window.
He was infectious. Like his mood and his laugh. He was on his hands?
The blood was on his hands, yeah.
When did you start to get mad?
When I started believing that I was not being told the whole story.
Mom.
You know, he was always encouraging people and always making people feel special.
I don't buy suicide. I just don't. Someone's died. Someone's got a bloody nose. Something happened.
Yeah, you could kill it now.
Oh. No.
Seth worked 2 shifts at restaurants that night, in the morning at Commander's Palace and at night at Gree. He fell to his death the morning of October 28th, out a 12th floor window in the Saratoga Lofts building in the CBD. Seth had drugs in his system and he was hanging out with 2 of his friends from back home, North Carolina. They say Seth jumped through the window, and when police arrived, one of those friends had a bloody nose. The police report says suicide, and the autopsy report also says suicide. But the Donaldsons have so many questions about how Seth died that they're continuing to push for answers. And there were questions in my mind, too, that I just couldn't seem to shake. So we came here to Hendersonville, North Carolina, thinking maybe this is the place to start. And we found a lot of answers, but still have a lot of questions.
Was he shot? No.
First we heard a balcony.
He
and then
fell onto a balcony.
there'd been a fight or
What?
he'd fallen through a window.
What happened?
Taking a little video right now.
Why are you taking video?
The autopsy report says suicide. The police report says suicide. But the Donaldsons and even some of those with ties to the investigation say they're not so sure. What made you guys feel like you needed to investigate this yourself, basically?
Because just none of it just didn't make sense.
It helps, I guess, to be doing the investigation because I feel like I can do something.
I mean, you feel it every single meal.
1.5 cups of water,
He's a chef.
orange juice, lemon juice.
Phone calls, emails,
This is
social media.
lemon, ginger.
30, 20 milligram roof pebbles going 40 miles
It's
an hour.
never not
I mean,
gonna
this
be
has
thought
become
about.
my job. Phones, there were drones.
For the rest of my life.
Oh, everywhere I go now and punch windows.
Yes!
Do you miss him?
Yes. Yes. I miss him every day.
We met Abby Hudson at Jump Off Rock. It's a scenic overlook on top of a rock that juts out over the Smoky Mountains. She says she and Seth used to come here a lot to talk about just about everything.
He was infectious. Like his mood and his laugh and everything was, but like his perspective on life was infectious.
There's just not many people in your life that care for you in the way that Seth cared about people.
Michaela Bignino met Seth in culinary school, and their friendship, as platonic as it was, went well beyond food.
He just had a very high emotional quotient. He was very empathetic and he could pick up on, you know, what was wrong with people.
Seth had a job lined up at a new restaurant. Amy says they talked about it the night before he died at around 10:30.
He started his countdown. 20 more days till I come home.
Michaela was proud of her culinary school classmate. She was excited that he was getting a chef's job at a brand new restaurant, And within minutes of meeting her, it was clear how much she misses him.
We all want to know what happened because there's no part of me that thinks that he would want to commit suicide or want to jump out of a window.
We're not afraid of suicide. We're not criticizing anyone whose family succumbed to suicide, but we know the people Seth was with. And to call this a suicide is to give those other two an out and not explain their motives or what was going on in all the details.
Those two of Seth's friends from high school, who we'll call John and Kelly. Those are not their real names. We're changing them because John and Kelly are not accused of a crime. They're witnesses to a death. Amy says John posted this video in the comments on one of her Facebook posts just a few hours before Seth died. Here's how Kelly describes the night to police in the NOPD's body camera footage.
Did he drink a lot when he was on Bourbon? Did he drink?
None of us drank.
Okay.
None of us drank. We were just walking around enjoying the environment.
Okay.
I think he made one mistake. Hanging out with a friend shouldn't have hung out with.
I just felt like he got mixed into the wrong crowd, and he's very impressionable.
He got arrested, and
Was that a wake-up call?
I didn't get him out of jail. He's 28 days in jail. I mean, I could have gotten him out, but I'm not going to get him out.
The soccer fields that Seth played on is a park over that way. Soccer mom, tennis mom, basketball mom, a cross-country mom, swim mom.
Detective.
We don't know what in the world could have changed. Somebody deleted stuff.
Minimum amount
There's
of
a
cocaine that you can have.
lot of questions here.
There were 70 pages of emails that I had sent to Marcia Scallon.
Amy's work on this case has been staggering. When we visited, she showed us this big binder that she has that's full of information, leads that she's found on the investigation, and what she says are problems with how police have handled theirs. So you had 51 points that you felt
51.
were mishandled by police.
Amy is a very driven person already. I feel like if anybody's capable of getting to the finish line, it's her and Scott. I mean, and they loved Seth so much.
Is it hard to watch them?
Yes. That's why I avoid it sometimes.
For months, Amy's mind has been mired in questions. Did Seth jump? Did he fall?
Hurt you, you know, but he's gonna be in here because we both care about you. We want to make sure you're
To the elevator doors, I put my shoes on real quick, and in that time, he was laying on the ground, and when I walked out, I could see him laying on the ground, like, freaking out, and she's pissed because she just got kicked or kneed or fucking...
Yeah, it kicked me in the boob.
Yeah, and so she was just like, yo, just leave him out here, whatever, but I was like, that's my friend, so I better go get him, and fucking, I literally had to, like, on the ground, like, freaking out, and she's pissed because she just got kicked or kneed or fucking...
Yeah, it kicked me in the boob.
Yeah, and so she was just like, yo, just leave him out here, whatever. But I was like, that's my friend, so I better go get him. And fucking, I literally had to, like, carry him back into the room. And then, I don't, this all happened really fast, but, like, I pretty sure I, like, was putting him down on the couch. And he was just like, water, I just see water.
He kept saying water a lot.
Yeah.
And he was just pouring it on himself.
Yeah, and so then he fucking, right when I sit him down, he yelled something, and then just instantly, like, got up.
Like,
Got
it was
up.
like,
He instantly got up and did this. Like, got up real quick, and he yelled something crazy, and then just went.
so he was on a couch when...
I'm pretty sure he was
he sitting on
almost... He was almost sitting or right next to the couch. I can't even remember what I
He
got
was
him.
in
Okay.
that
He
same
was right there,
tent.
but he didn't straight run at the window from across the room and jump.
Okay.
He was near the coffee
Catapulted
table.
He catapulted himself off the couch through the window.
Okay.
There's a broken couch. Oh God, we're gonna have to move so much shit. That's not even. Oh.
And you said before y'all picked him up, he was at the shop yard and walking a dog, or did he ever go to Voodoo? Did he do any? No.
He got
Okay.
off work at 11 when we got off.
Okay.